JoJo, the weekly JoJo's Bizarre Adventure podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
Hello.
It's Niall.
How are you?
And it's me, Brian. And on this episode, we are covering anime that airs the week of the 28th of August to the 3rd of September, 2022. And we start off with the thing which gives the show its name. It's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Part 6, Stone Ocean, Episode 13, The Kiss of Love and Revenge, Part 1, I believe. I think I missed the Part 1 part out of that.
Back in the big house, boys. Back in the joint.
We
But
are.
the way the episode opens is I was like, oh shit, did I watch the wrong episode? Let me go back and check the prior episode.
Yeah. I did that as well because they've taken a chapter from later in the comic and shoved it at the start of this episode.
I will admit that it is a funny prank they did pull on us because I was just like, you brought me back and you made me think I was starting at the wrong. No, 13 was where I should have started. Yeah.
It's good though, because it says, but what did Jolene do to get in this situation? She didn't actually kill somebody.
Yeah, so it opens with her being put into like not solitary confinement, like the super ultra the prison within the prison within the double prison. For apparently killing Hermes and Foo Fighters.
No, just killed a female inmate, blunt force trauma to the head. Who actually see you walking around, talking to the antagonist of this little arc here, and think, oh well, it's probably something to do with him, and she's just taking the fall for it. But maybe she planned to get in there because
that was the other thing I was thinking. Did she want to get in here because she's investigating more into who has her father's brain CD? I guess is the main crux of it. Yeah.
I got a club armless flat, even though these guys are throwing shit at me. And they're going, woo, we're going right in the face. She's got to stomach it down. The clues are somewhere in his wing. All these psychopaths.
But
yeah. This is Ultra Security Solitary is where it is.
Okay.
She's put in her cell by a relatively nondescript guard and a guy who has Super JoJo's hair. So it
looks like he has a beehive. Yeah.
It's fun. Giorno's haircut. Oh, come on, man.
But Giorno's is like he's got the triple pompadour front. Whereas this guy just has like a beehive built around his head. He's got all those little circles all over the place. Yeah.
I suppose being involved in the prison system, I strengthened the legal kind of thing. He probably reads all the trade publications and new head of the mafia.
Hey, that's a pretty cool haircut.
Yeah, I gotta give you one of that.
I think I could do that, but more. Yeah.
Greg, come on, don't just come on. We got like be an example to the rest of us. No, if they get cool haircut, so do I.
But yeah, cutting back to it, it is it's like was it a week prior it kind of rolls back the clock, or
before that
regardless anyway. It's Hermes who is she like any even Foo Fighters pointing out in our new life plan of I'm just going to do the opposite of what I want to do, so I know I'm in control and it's not me, the water monster that's riding around inside this corpse. It's not the body deciding the decisions, it's me. So my body craves coffee, so I'm going to drink a tea. I don't like people cutting in the queue at lunch for me, so I'm going to let people cut in the queue in front of me.
In fact, I'll drag them in, and then inside, a small
miniature riot.
It's easier to get to the food because everyone's busy rioting. Good idea.
Yeah, so it's her new lifestyle choice is working out very well for her. But she does point out...
It's very that Seinfeld episode where George decides to do the opposite of every one of his instincts.
Yeah. It's good that it still has these weird sitcom premises in prison. But yeah, so the weird part is obviously Hermes isn't about, and it's like, yeah, it's weird because when I said to her, it's like, hey, there's trouble happening in the prison yard. You were fighting all those frogs and shit. From last season.
Yesterday.
Basically, it's like, yeah, she was going off chasing a guy, not chasing a guy, but stalking a guy, and so
him.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, fucking, does she fancy the dude? Is she out for revenge? She's out for revenge, obviously, but she's doing it on her own. She's a lone wolf. She doesn't have any friends, even if she does have these specific two weirdos as friends. So yeah, she probably rely on them more.
They get the newspaper from like the prison library, very up to date. the opponent said, that's what happens. There's it's like, there was like a murder here, like a woman was killed because you witnessed like the murder by his gang, and obviously this is the dude who did it. But upon that the guy, like, it was a called thing. Oh, like our parents are dead, or so it's up to the big sister, Gloria, to raise Hermes, and they gotta run the family business. But Hermes is out in the streets being a hoodlum, getting fucking into all sorts of trouble.
Well, the weird thing is, she says she wants to do she wants to get a cross-country scholarship. She doesn't want to run the family restaurant.
Yeah, she can move.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's jacked, like, so that's fair enough. But
her sister witnesses this killing happening, and she gets done for it. But it can't nail the guy. He's covered his tracks too well. So they get him like Capone on tax evasion.
Yeah, so he's only in for like 5 years rather than the murder that he did of the sister. He gets away with that.
This guy, Sports Max.
Sports Maximum in the thing. Because I feel like you didn't need to do that one again, lads, but you're doing it for the laugh. It's fine.
Well, Sports Max is a brand, so I think that's...
It is.
But I mean, like, it is two distinct words. You know what I mean? And they're not naming the brand it's a subsidiary of, I think.
Let's call him Sports Direct. No way.
I think there's enough other people called other things that you'd be hard pressed to argue that that he's not named after the brand. Of course, as you say, you could just hear them say it in the original dialogue. So,
and his specific thing, his hair is barely weird by JoJo standards. His eyebrows are pretty weird because they're like the design on his suit. It's like commas,
paisley,
I think.
Yeah, he's got like a paisley design, but very simple. It's just the whatever they're called.
Like the thing you'd use for a comma or an ellipses or something like that. But
yeah,
his eyebrows are
also
those. So.
There's a specific thing in Japan that's shaped like that, and I can't remember because it's the thing in Blue Seed.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called now.
Okay.
Yeah, and she follows him and sees him talking to Poochie. Of course, she doesn't know that Poochie is a bad guy. Just thinks it's
because she wasn't following the main plot. Yeah.
Yes, she's well, nobody knows yet. Only us, the viewer, and also his henchmen know.
This must have been a few days after, because as Jolene points out, it's like, hey, these bullet holes in me are still itchy, and she's like, yeah, I just filled it up with plankton. That's all I can do.
Stop rubbing them.
Yeah, stop scratching it.
Still more sensible than a character we'll get to in a different show later on regarding holes in their body.
Plugging up with plankton that is alive, but you're in control of, I guess, is a viable solution until your body heals it. But so she doesn't know anything about the whole Poochie situation. Yeah.
Yeah, but she knows about Whitesnake. She doesn't know about the Poochies.
Yes.
Nobody does yet. And he had the Sports Max a rose, and we see it's covered in worms. What is his deal? Well, his deal is he's into taxidermy, which will become very important at the end of the episode. We get a recap of how Kiss's powers work of making the duplicate and then slamming the duplicates together. But the thing formed after they're slammed back together has a flaw in it.
Because they hit each other so hard, they damage the original, basically. Yeah, the copy damages the original. Yeah. And we also get like a recap of Poochie's whole deal of having a conversation with Dio at that one time.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yes. So he's trying to do the same for saying, what is the best way to, just like, I'm assuming this is whole thing up on saying, I've been from Kilby's Joe Star, took like one so many times right now. How do I just really get one over on them if they kill me again? Well, go to heaven. That's how you do it, because that's where everyone's trying to go to. Like, better than immortality. It's living forever, but like it's in heaven, man. But I'm going to like bring heaven here. I'm not going to wait for it. I'm going to bring heaven onto here. That's how you do it. It's like, I see. So just follow these 3 simple steps, and you too can go to heaven. And that's what Poochie is doing now. And they're searching around for like a bone of Dio. This is actually, I think they mentioned in the episode description for this, but I'm not sure it's brought up like that explicitly in the body of the program itself. But
yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, but there's a bit of him or something like that somewhere in this prison, and I guess the clues then was drawn to like the super solitary double secret probation wing could be something to do with that as well. Could be to hide it from all the psychopaths you don't want to go near.
Yeah, she also visits what's her face, the informant. Yeah.
Yeah, to get information. It's like, hey, what's the deal with Hermes? Like, who's this guy she's chasing? It's like, oh, I'm an informant, so you have to pay me, but I'll give you the friend discount because we're friends now, right? That's how this works. Sure.
All right, whatever. They try and talk Hermes down from like, we know your whole deal, man, but it's dangerous. You shouldn't want to go near the phone. Saying, I gotta do it. I gotta go after this man. It's from personal. And she spies her a chance then, and locks him up inside one of the sewage pipes.
Yeah.
It's like, how does it feel, motherfucker?
Yeah, basically, like she, I guess, met a spare bit of pipe in the same corridor and cleverly put a picture of her sister, like taped it to the pipe, and he's like, oh, a picture. I recognize that. So you do remember her, and then slams the copy pipe and the pipe together so that he's caught between and now is inside the real pipe.
It's like, yeah, fucking die in there. Fucking just like drown the shitty water, you piece of shit.
As she points out, like the pipes in the prison aren't big enough for a human body, so he is being crushed by the pipes trying to reform as well.
You just go, had enough in there, you dead there? And then he goes, ancient spirits of evil. I summon thee in the name of Limp Bizkit.
No, it's Limp Viscit. I think they're alluding to Viscount biscuits. I'm not entirely sure.
Well, they could have also gone with, in one of the video games, the Flaccid Pancake.
I mean, like, at least it does sound like he's saying limp biscuit from inside a pipe. So yeah.
Biscuito.
And then there's an invisible monster coming at her.
Well, yes, an invisible bird is the first attacker.
I mean, like, if it starts like poking you like full of holes and then trying to rip out your jugular vein, that's a monster to me. It doesn't matter if it's crow-sized.
It's a ghost. The guy fights taxidermied crow at the table, and then something much bigger comes out. It's like, taxidermied alligator over there. So you can just stand into someone like the ghosts of nearby dead things and make him get you.
Yeah, something. If he's stuffed it, he can make it as an invisible version of itself that is under his control. So obviously, she subdues the crow by copying her own top and wrapping it up in it, and then beating the shit out of it, as you do. The crocodile's a bigger problem because obviously that's the fucking like 6 foot long alligator. That's pretty dangerous, and an invisible alligator to boot, so that makes it worse. But he's also, while she's hanging off the pipes in the ceiling, he's trying to get the alligator to break him out of the pipe he's trapped in. And wouldn't you know it, the two girls show up. It's like, hey, what's going on over here?
Ow, my leg! She's bitten off FF's leg. That's okay. We can use his blood to throw over the invisible alligator and see where it is. Oh, it's coming to get us.
Still an alligator, even if you can see it.
That's the climax, isn't it? That's the cliffhanger, is the alligator charging towards Jolie.
Oh, yeah. You can see how this can escalate because they're in close proximity to the prison graveyard. I guess it's in like this like fucking chapel in the back where it's like entombed under like a stone slab because of Westminster Abbey or something.
Because that's the line at the start from the stuff later, is they're talking about a scene at the mausoleum. Which that was the additional thing which confused me. I was like, I'm pretty sure they went to the mausoleum in the end of the last season. But
Oz doesn't have fucking like psychic like imbued prisoners going around trying to resurrect a vampire, but all right.
I think the Green Dolphin prison is very, very big in the fact that it has a separate room specifically for the stuffing of animals, like that kind of thing. It's a very large prison.
It's good that to get the prisoners like a hobby, have something like to when they have paid their debt to society, they can go out and keep them out of trouble. They need these things.
It is a rare thing in JoJo's which does have proper maps of bits of it, but I don't think the entire thing is there.
put that down to like, let's add on a little bit here. It's a little like annex to a previously established map or whatever, and it could be in. If he doesn't know if Iraqi is the best done type one, this fuzzy on details that may become important later on, saying, "Oh yeah, that." Well, it's this thing now. Don't worry.
We just haven't went there so far. That kind of thing. Yeah.
But yeah, I also wonder whether he was deliberately doing that this time as a challenge to himself, because it helps the idea of the prison if you do feel that you're limited in the spaces you can go to.
Yeah.
It would feel like a prison if it felt like you were making up the locations as you went along. But
it's a little different when you have like the town of Morio, because that's a whole fucking town to work with. But it's a lot more condensed.
It looks like the maps are for like the main block where Jolene's being held. There's maps for. I assume that probably showed up in a bit we've already covered.
I mean, like, I feel like it's shown up a few times when it's like, oh, he's gone that way, so I need to go after him. So we have those zoom ins on the particulars of it. Yeah.
And I guess, if you keep that bit fairly tightly mapped, then because that's the place she's going to spend most of the time, then yes, you can play more liberally with the other locations. You'd still get a sense of being entrapped inside the one location.
Yeah, they were pretty effective with that when they had to keep throwing the baseball back and forth, because they had to come in from the outside yard and down the corridor, and then you're in like open bit of the block.
It was a good sense of space there. Actually, I did love going back into this. Feels like I've never left, but I was kind of like, like the idea of invisible bird pecking you was bad, but then invisible fucking alligator, like I was just like, oh no, I hate this. This is it's uncomfortable for me. It was getting me in the good way.
Yeah. Oh, but you bet they love the fact that we just need to animate the effect of this happening, not the thing itself. So this is really good for us, because they did pull some folks off of this to work on Urusei Yatsura.
Okay.
Hey, they've gotten by. They've used their limits, to the best they can for good effect. So, yeah.
Okay, right. So there is a film from 1989 called Enemy Unseen. Here's the summary from IMDb. A couple of young scientists, Mel Noble and Roxanne Tangent, travel to an island in Africa thought to be deserted in search of crocodile life. When African natives storm the camp and kidnap Roxanne, her father, Gordon, hires Steiger and his team of investigators to track down the natives that worship crocodiles as sacred animals. The problem is they can't be seen. So I wonder whether that's where this is the latest.
Lord, lots of alligators.
Yes,
Lord, that's
VHS tape that he picked up.
I was thinking initially more along the lines of like fucking some kind of zombie adjacent thing, like what's the one with
this was with the fact that they're bringing the taxidermy model.
The taxidermy stuff,
Return of the Living Dead in this, for like
Return of the Living Dead. What's the one with Jeffrey Combs in it?
Reanimator.
Reanimator. I was thinking like stuff like that, where it's like, oh, he's bringing like the bodies back, but it's not like the bits of the bodies are still alive and that shit. But yeah, no, that's invisible crocodiles. That sounds more directly probably what it is.
Particularly because they referred to in this episode it's referred to as a crocodile, not an alligator, which was really weird. I was why isn't it an alligator, given that you're in Florida?
That would be what you have access to. I mean, like what they have had access to relatively recently.
Yes.
Have they misnumbered them before? Again, this is a complete alternate reality where we have like a load of crocodiles in Florida rather than alligators.
I mean, it could be like an invasive species or something. It's not like you can do much about it once they're there. Like,
well, Florida, that's where they're running all the kind of drug boats. You get a lot of like drug kingpins with exotic like menageries, and they get off in the local ecosystem. And I'm not sure crocodiles and alligators can interbreed. Maybe they can. You get some kind of super gator, crocogator, and then another horror film, and then the cycle continues. It's a self-perpetuating engine.
Right, so that's JoJo's taken care of for this week. Now let's move on to something from a previous week. Bastard, Heavy Metal Dark Fantasy, Episode 10, The Goddess of Thunder, in which we have a Dark Elf versus Ninja battle for pretty much the entire episode. With the brief bit of saying farewell to would-be girlfriends.
Also, he's copping like a feel before he does as well.
Yeah, a courtesy copper feel, I think, for her benefit more than his own.
But it's in front of his girlfriend. I'm surprised he didn't get punched for that. That seems like
he
a punchable
seems cool with it. I don't know.
Yes.
Poor for Sean CN going off. I can tell he's not really into me because he can't even remember my name.
He's like, hey, sweet cheeks, hey, baby. It's just like, he never mentions her by name. It's like, that's not great. Well, she's off in a cart with her other general friend to get blessed at the local thing. So her friend doesn't turn into a vampire. So
yeah,
that's all taken care of.
Forget about them. They'll come back in and be no help at some point in the future, I'm sure. What's going on in Metallica?
Definitely summing up with, I can't remember his name. It's not the ice guy. It's the priest
Abigail.
Guy. Yes.
I remember this guy lady's name.
He seems to be completely unhinged, unlike all the other members of this dark army.
He has two goals of like having to like, no, let's do an evil laugh together. So, and Calcio says, "What's my boss be joining in now? No. Come on, we'll try again. Evil plans. Come on, look."
And he's playing his very clever evil plans. So I've infected her with the blue nail. And every time she looks at her nail, you'll have to think, I have to kill that Dark Schneider. And if you betray it, then it'll kill you. And the only way to cure it is to take out the heart of the target of the spell and, I don't know, pour the blood on your blue nail or something. It wasn't clear about that. But you do need the heart. So you either have to kill him or remove his heart. Either way, he's fucking dead. So win-win.
Got persuade him to agree to the surgery, signed the waiver, we put him under the table, just gotta rub off it or whatever like that, and then it's all gone. Oh, I can find him.
So he sees it entirely as a win-win. He doesn't he's like the other guy's kind of like, we do not trust her. Like, it's like, well, I mean, like, he did raise her from a child, so he doesn't go with the romantic love. He goes with the fatherly love end. Thank goodness. Because it's kind of like she's probably has a bunch of She probably still loves him in a way, so I need to make sure that she definitely has to kill this guy. But unfortunately, when she gets to Metallica, I was going to say Metallicalana, whatever. It's being defended by a ninja who the council are kind of out the window going like, Garo the ninja, he saved us. What a fucking idiot! Someone probably paid him to do that. God, he sucks. I'm like, they're really like, oh, thank goodness Garo's here. But also, fuck that guy.
He's helping you out, Jesus.
They're such dicks. It's great.
Yes. And also because it plays into the idea as like, they're dicks. And it's like, oh no, Gara's a little bit in love with Dark Schneider. And that's why he's doing it.
As he explains later, the reason he switched sides is because this seems like it'd be more fun.
Yes.
He'll do whatever's the most fun thing at the time. And also if Dark Schneider's on that side. Yeah.
So he like very early on shatters her sword, but then still gets his ass kicked. With lots. He
also flexes out of his own armor when he realizes that won't protect him.
Shadow cloning, shirtless ninja fighting.
Yep. Well, they love though is the power of like computer rated animation. We just just pick 7 of him and just paste them in the background.
Yeah.
At least they talk at different times sometimes. That's good. I like the fact all the other ninjas and all the goblins are just there commenting on the sidelines.
Wow. What a bad one. You just got her now. Oh, yeah. Oh, nothing can stop this. It's like, oh, my gosh. He's going to fucking give it to him now.
They're both very supportive armies of their respective generals, yeah.
But yes, Gara's about to get finished off, and Sheila's like, "Oh no, I wish Dark Schneider was here to save him. Where is Dark Schneider? Dark Schneider, will you please appear?" And then Dark Schneider appears as if by magic.
Well, probably by magic, yeah.
But yes.
I love seeing Dark Schneider. I've heard so many times, and the name has lost all meaning.
Yeah. It's kind of strange. And they're both like, I got this super attack, but when you saw it before, I was only using one arm because one of my arms got chopped off. So this is the better attack because I'm using both my arms. It's like, well, you started my sword, but my sword actually isn't the cool thing. It's the fact that my sword is made of lightning, and you can't block lightning with your sword.
It's just some fucking rock, paper, scissors, fucking fire, water, thunder, devil bullshit.
it's pretty funny. Like it's just like but which one's the real clone? It was like, well, the one that the actual attack is coming from. That one. It's like, damn, you figured it out. It's a lot of very silly kind of well, my power is this. It's like, well, my power double super negates that.
I activate my trap card. Oh, but I got a counter trap card and a Geyser trap card. But no, when a card is sent to the graveyard, it's like,
Yeah. It's a lot of that. It's fun, but it is very silly.
Yeah.
More like Magic the Gathering than Dungeons and Dragons is for a little bit.
Yeah, there's a little bit of fourth wall breaking as well. That weird sound's come back. Don't know where that's from. When Yoko's chastising Dark Schneider for he should act more like a main character of this show that he's in.
Yeah.
You don't want to get cancelled, do you?
So yeah, that's only 3 more episodes. Then Niall informs us it's back very soon, and we won't have time to watch it. So.
We'll just keep on like trucking on at the rate we can't absorb it at, you know.
Fuuto PI episode 5, the terrible M, the sound of a leak. So I'd forgotten that the original Kamen Rider double had all these something titles with a single letter in them, which would often mean.
Well, how could you remember, Brian? It never came out over here, so you couldn't.
That's
have watched
true.
it.
So there was no possible way I could have seen any of it beyond those first 2 episodes, which are on the Toei Tokusatsu channel.
Yeah.
So in this episode, we Kamen Rider Axel gets to do some stuff, but he hasn't transformed yet. He gets to do some cop stuff instead.
They do explain his shit at the end post credits thing, but yeah.
Yes.
He refuses to
questions around here.
Yeah.
He turns into a motorcycle, ladies and gentlemen. That's he's quite unusual in that fashion. Otherwise they're investigating what's his name? Murder, this gamer. The chief suspect.
Name Murder. He named himself a killer. It's again this like mystery. It's just like, his name is Murder. He's probably the killer.
It's his fucking Xbox Live gamer tag, you know. This Murder sounds a bit cool, and XX plays for life for XXX.
Actually, the amount of things that this fucking video game is. So when he's at home, he's got the big arcade stick, you know, the home arcade stick thing with the ball stick and that kind of thing.
Right,
but when he takes her on in public, she has that, and he has like a Switch controller. It's all over the place.
He was using fucking hacks, man. He's fucking like fun, like exploits and glitches to try and win it over. But she just like fucking did Evo moment and this one ting, and just can't go right back at him. It's like she humiliated him in front of a live audience, so of course he's got a move to kill her. Yeah,
because basically she identified him as like, I think it's that guy Murder is his handle, because he challenged me in public, and he specifically used the very online thing of like, you're going to suck on my sword because you got to make it sexual because you're a creep. And he did say that. The giant bug monster man did also say that, and I was just like, that's probably him then. And they're like, oh fuck, well then we can just go arrest him.
Yes, but also Philip's like, how has he got gravity powers? It makes no sense based on what his dope had.
He's looking up all that information.
And also Murder is then approached in his house by a pink-haired man with one rainbow-coloured
kind of plait or something like that.
Plait with like a gold ring in it, who I assume is the sort of nebula-looking Dofant who we see observing events.
Yeah, but please call me Bando.
Yes. And he's complimenting on how well he's evolved his Gaia memory already, but they want him to assist. Does he mention the organization he's with, or just that he...
No, he mentions, are you trying to recruit me into some kind of cult or something? He's like, no, I'm trying to recruit you to a city.
Yes.
That only the elite can live in.
It's the city. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And also, like, they have to leave at one point. He's like, oh, I just got a text. Yeah, we got to have this conversation elsewhere because the cops are about to come raid my apartment, which they do. So they get out of there. And he's like, the man's like, would you like some drugs? And he's like, no, man, I don't do drugs. And it's like, no. It's drugs to increase your power as a monster man.
You know.
Yeah. And he's like, well, I do take vitamins, so that's fine. I will do that. No problem there.
Yeah. Let's him make little dragonfly babies pop out of him.
Gross.
Super gross.
As if he wasn't gross enough as a person already. But in the meantime, we do also have the Philip and the assistant are kind of they're kind of
Akiko.
like more.
Oh yes, their thing. Yes, the later thing is Akiko talking to Philip and explaining why he's feeling the feelings that he's feeling.
Yeah, so they're kind of like mad. They were mad at each other in the last episode, but it kind of comes to head in this is where he's like, "Well, I don't need a fucking useless assistant who can't save the person she's supposed to be assisting," and she's like, "Well, how come you didn't beat him up as half a Kamen Rider then, you jerk?" And he's like, "Ooh." They're very mad at each other basically, but for not the reasons that they think. It's romantic reasons.
So they deduce that one of the assistants staff. Yeah,
it's one of the staff now because you see.
Initially, looks like the manager is doing it. Yeah,
he's acting shifty, looking, going around the phone saying he always seems to be missing whenever Megu is in danger. Why is that?
And also, they have the thing of it's like, okay, so if you just don't do any public appearances as your in-game character, then you will be fine. And the manager kind of comes in, you got to do a real-life appearance as your in-game character. And it's like, why is he forcing this? Surely she'll be attacked at that. And presumably it's because he's saying it to everyone in the room because he's trying to figure out who on the inside is informing the Donphant Megafly kind of guy as to her public appearances. So that's why he's acting suspicious, not because he's actually doing it. It turns out it's the head of her hair and makeup department.
Makeup team. So it's like, oh, it's just that should have been me. That should have been me on that stage.
She doesn't even want to be on the stage, and this is something I craved all my life. It's like, but I've never mentioned up to this point because all I've really done is do her hair and makeup in the show up to this point.
And then they do with her. Then they're speaking to the programmer about you don't have to do it if you don't want to. And then Shotaro is like, I'm not so sure that she doesn't want to do it.
He comes about his sick bed because I gotta say some cool, wise things. Set her straight.
Yes,
he's like, I know a few things. This is actually a thing you want to do. It's not just the thing you're forced to do. You could just say fucking no. You basically run this game, so you could deny it, but you do it and you enjoy it. And
to keep it, will keep you safe. And then my back will explode in a fountain of blood. Because I've dragged myself.
Because you have not healed. As they point out earlier, like regular medicine doesn't work on Donphant injuries.
Yeah.
Kind of makes sense, I guess.
I like how straight his speech is played and then how sillily.
Oh, yeah.
They have no sympathy for him as this blood's shooting at his
they're
back.
just panicking because there's loads of gouts of blood coming
everywhere.
Out of his
Put it back in. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, it's all right. Just get some breasts here on this cot and you'll be grand. I don't know.
And then Akiko gives Philip the talk that the reason you're behaving this is because you haven't realised that you're also in love with Shotaro.
That's impossible. We're both men.
That's highly illogical.
Homosexuals exist. You got to remember this, Philip. All right, you could be a bit gay.
Look it up on the internet like you normally do, and
I assume Philip looks it up because he does later apologize to your one. Is like, oh, sorry, because I wished I could be a woman, which is a perfectly normal thing to say. And she's like, that is not a usual thing to say, but I appreciate the apology. Yeah.
And then they get trapped in a building full of insects, and the Donphant tries to kidnap the idol. Takime leaps out the window, grabs hold of her leg. They both fall to their... Oh, no, they fall into a pond, luckily, as opposed to falling straight to their deaths. But what are they going to do? Shotaro's not here to fight this. But Philip is.
Well, initially, there's a tiny little dinosaur there to chop off his arm. Which is great. That's a cute little thing.
Yes. And by the way, there's another power-up we didn't mention last episode. I turned into Fang Joker, which I can't remember what its deal is, whether it goes berserk. It looks like it goes berserk.
He's going to go crazy.
Because he's still half Joker, but he needs the little mobile phone / dinosaur / fucking thing he plugs into his belt to be the other half. So it's like, I guess that crazy little dinosaur is the other half.
Yeah. It's sort of got a will of its own, so I guess that's like, or it's just like smash and bash and cut things to takes over. There's got a point and aim at a monster, let's say, and watch him get atomized.
So, according to the wiki, the transforming Gaia dinosaur Fang memory, also known as the Fanged memory, is a special Gaia memory that was solely created to protect Philip and act on his orders, enabling him and Shotaro to transform into Fang and Joker. So, Fang Joker is... what's its deal? Forms. Okay. Fang Joker. Fang Joker.
Oh, because it can probably do all the... Is Philip the left-hand side? Yeah. Joker's the left, isn't it?
Joker. No, it's usually Philip on the left and Shotaro.
Yes.
No, Philip on the right and Shotaro on the left.
Yes.
Oh, Philip on the right. Sorry.
On doubles left and doubles right. Yes, not from the viewer's point of view. Yeah.
So I presume it can do like Fang, the other that side. That kind of thing.
It can do.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's explored in the live action, they can always do here.
Yes, they can find more attack. Yeah, it can summon different weapons depending on how many times it cranks the horn of the of Fang memory. And then, because each of these combinations have their own finishing moves as well, which we got a hint of in the previous episode. And apparently, it can also be used in combination with Kamen Rider Axel as well to perform Rider Twin Maximum. Okay. Yes, we're still waiting for that man to transform into a man who turns into a motorcycle. Maybe next week. So as you said, they teased it at the end. In the little super deformed gimmick. Lots of good action.
I did like that. It's like, how could you be this is their interview. How can you be a Kamen Rider if you turn into the thing that is ridden, the motorbike? Yes. And he's like, no further questions.
Kamen Rider Geets. Maybe that's how it's pronounced. Not about the Scandinavian tribe. Just started. It's quite unusual. It's one of these ones where, a bit like Don Brothers, I don't think necessarily the character who you'd assume is the main character, i.e. the title rider, is actually going to be the main character of the show. Also, the premise of the show kind of wraps up within the first episode and then restarts at the end of the episode. The gimmick is that it's based on sort of PUBG, Fortnite style survival games.
Okay.
With multiple riders. It's by the same guy who did 01 and X-Aid. And of course also does the Koike Lupin III OVAs. And seems to have gone further, because each of the previous ones had a villain who turns into a hero who's like a rich weirdo. This time, the rich weirdo appears to be our titular Kamen Rider. Everything's animal themed, so the Geets is a fox themed one. The guy who's the main character is like a Tanuki themed. The female lead is a cat themed one. And there's a polar bear, there's a panda, there's going to be a sheep, all sorts of. They've got like oversized animal helmets as well. Ooh. They've got really good looks to them. It looks like an interesting setup, and also there's this mysterious masked man whose voice has been synthesized and it isn't in the cast. And everyone who's a fan of X-Aid is like, is that Dan Karuto from X-Aid? Is he back in this show? Because he was the rich weirdo who eventually becomes a hero, but he ran the game company. So it's like, oh, if it's games, there might be a connection. It may just be the same actor playing an entirely different role, or they know that people will think that, and so that's why they did it to.
You could throw them,
tease them. So that if you want to hop on to a Kamen Rider live action, this is the week to do it, because the new one just started up. When Revice, the one which ended last week, the Don Brothers episode opened with the ending of Revice, and then them declaring that, well, if they've just had their finale, we're going to have our finale too. And it was a clip episode where they were trying to decide who was the best superhero in the show, which then Zenkaiser Black declared himself the best superhero at the end, because he's been a superhero for 18 months, unlike these other characters who have only been superheroes for 6 months, because he was in the previous show. Yeah. I don't know if any of that was canon, but it was a very silly way to do a clip show of just declaring middle of your series that you're going to do a finale. I was like, excellent, well done, you incredibly weird show that has frequently forgotten its gimmick. Its gimmick
big Roboco energy there.
Yeah, its gimmick is that they were supposed to change into past riders like they did in the Zenkaiger show. That has barely happened throughout the 27 episodes so far. They remember
for one thing, they're distracted by things that are happening right now as opposed to just being nostalgic.
Yeah, it's a weird show where they have to be reminded every so often, hey, can you put the toys in? Supposed to be selling these collectible coins that people can shove in their transforming devices, and you keep on forgetting to do it. Moving back to anime, that's our tokusatsu talk for a brief period. It's Yurei Deco, episode 9, Burning Brand, in which we do indeed get Finn's background. And a incredibly unsubtle allegory.
Whatever do you mean? I will say about
social media is a bad thing.
Yeah, I will say on talks of allegory, I did like Fuuto PI being like the kind of gay subtext. It just went, it's like, yeah, probably the show said it. It just don't make it subtext or anything. Don't be subtle about it. Just straight up say, dude, you might be gay, and he's like, all right, fair enough. Whereas in this, it's more, maybe be more concerned about the real world rather than how many likes you got on any social media, basically.
Yeah. So Finn, as a kid, wanted to reset the systems, and he fell out with his previous bunch of outcasts because he wanted to do that because there's poor pollution management in the area of the island in which they live, and he's trying to do it again, but he thinks his current band of outcasts, they're just going to turn on him the same way his previous band of outcasts did, and that's why he's turned them all away in the last episode. And then the guys go, what are you talking about, Finn? We're your buddies. We'll help you.
And again, he wasn't seeing the differences. Like, dude, your family didn't turn on you. Your brother turned on you. Yeah, but it was more so society turned on you for bucking against the system kind of thing. Is like, we're actually your friends, the found family. It's not the same situation at all, buddy.
Yeah, got backwards, man. Like, it's not a family just comprised of outcasts. Outcasts that became a family.
Yes,
that's it, man. Families fight, but we make up. We just stick together. That's what good waffles do. So it's okay. We'll help you fix the air purification. Shimi have been left idle. You tried to alert the county council to when you were a child, but
it's only gotten worse since. Yeah.
Nope, and they wind up inadvertently snitching on the entire fucking neighborhood, and then they all got their counterfeit gear for getting likes confiscated. Now we're all poor because we haven't got any likes. We can't buy bread. Or some shit like that.
You could buy bread beforehand, because as the grandpa points out, before he goes to the retirement home where presumably he never comes back from because of his horrible coughing and asthma and shit from the pollution. It's just like, I grow cilantro, and if I take the seeds out, I can grow like another plant. It's an actual fucking thing. You could eat it. It's useful. It's better than likes.
But then fucking Big Brother was like, check it out. Got 12 sweet likes right here. It's like, and it seems so kind of sad and petty then. And then we turns up one later and saying in all those years he's got like fucking 27 likes to it or something like that. It's like, if the dude is like he was hanging on to his communion money,
Yeah, like I feel like likes in this, like if I had 10 likes and you had 5 likes and I give you 2 of my likes, like I actually have less. So it is actually like a consumable thing, and you can spend them on like a new skin and that kind of stuff, but or a new interface to view the world in brighter, prettier colors. But they put like loads of colorful stuff over the big piles of garbage, which makes it much easier to live among the garbage.
I might have found it like homeless people, roadkill. I'd say this having this all.
Yeah, just painted over in bright colors, like they did to the the slums and everything in Brazil during the Olympics and shit. That kind of stuff was like, no one will see if it's in bright, beautiful colors. It's fine.
Don't need to go that far back. The one that did that in fucking for Tokyo 2020, they was like, "Okay, all you homeless people, get the fuck out of this park. We can't have the fucking punters coming in seeing you." But then there were no punters, so it didn't matter in the end. So they caused all that misery for nothing.
Or maybe just don't cause misery in general. But yeah, the idea of like this chasing likes rather than your own fucking health.
Yeah,
like,
but I will say, go back to Sunshine, I feel like that was chosen deliberately because that is a plant which became an online fad in itself in recent years.
Also, it's called coriander, you weirdos.
Yes.
Yeah, I just use the words in the subtitles. I also call it coriander. Yeah. That's the one that like whatever percentage they tasted as soap, is it?
That's the one, yeah. Because
I get a little soapy thing for it, but I do like it. So
yeah, I think it's the different parts of the plant are being used in America to how they use it in Europe. So
I think the leaves and the stems have different terms, basically. Yeah, something like that.
But that's the thing. You gotta get the whole thing. It's easier to chop rather than pick all the leaves off. Just get a bit, you fold it into a little knot, and then you chop that up, and it gets a little bit of both all minced together, and maybe that's the actual taste you want to go for.
Mm-hmm.
But so I assume that was picked deliberately as another allusion to the internet.
Divisive herb, basically. Yeah.
You got this blue dress I got. That's not a blue dress. It's a
yeah.
But yeah, by the end of the episode, they're trying to get the town behind them again, and then the brother shows up and goes, they just want to get rid. Do you really want to lose your
27 likes?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, way to go, dude. You got that many for like the last birthday you had. You're still holding on to him.
He's wearing basically the same fucking gear he was when we last saw him when Finn was a kid. It's just like he has not changed one bit. But like when they're trying to reset the system, they're like, this will reset like the servers for the whole thing. It will reset the pollution management, the automatic pollution management system, but it will also reset everybody's love. So all that will go back to zero. They're like, you're just like Phantom Zero. Down with Phantom Zero. Just like Boo earns kind of situation. It's just like, and as they point out, it's like, lots of people have Deco sickness, like I fucking grew up with more. And what about the cases of asthma and cases of like fucking all the other diseases that are worsened by there being a lot of fucking pollution in the town?
Well, I want to keep my MySpace server running. Come on.
It's got all my favorite bands on it.
Fucking MySpace phone. These dudes are all on Bebo. Oh man, this is good stuff. Bebo was the best.
But I mean, like I did like the gang coming back together and going like, dude, we're your friends. Fuck off. Like, let us help you. It's good stuff.
It is. I mean, it's not subtle, but then again, it's probably aimed for a much younger audience than we are.
Dude, I mean, like a lot of reading comprehension has gone way fucking down on the internet. I think it's because just stupid people are very loud, not because there's more of them. So I think it needs to be unsubtle about like, hey, stop chasing likes.
Well, yes, it's the season 3 of The Boys syndrome. Okay, we got to stop being subtle about our satire here. Just
say it out loud what you fucking want to say, because otherwise people will not pick up on it. They'll think, maybe being a bastard would be cool. It's like, no, it's not.
Yeah, there you go. I've not checked in on the whatever hip hop song they've given us on YouTube this week, if it's up there yet. But
I
listened to a couple of those. I had to have because I kept opening the same tab. Never opened the browser. The same one a couple of times. But they're pretty neat. I like them.
Yeah, there's quite interesting like little addition, and I assume gets a Blu-ray, stick it on there.
Yeah, and it gets like new animation of them doing all the sweet dance moves individually. Why not?
Next up on the list is Uncle from Another World. That reminds me, I almost got assassinated once. It's episode 5. So I think, you mentioned last week, I think it's just that a particular episode director had quit Niall rather than the entire series director.
Right. It did cause a bit of a hiccup, all right, yeah.
Yeah, which has put it back into permanent hiatus, which I assume, I mean, I would guess is that it might not be directly COVID this time, but it might be like the knock-on effect. It sounds like, from what I was reading, is they're just not using external subcontractors to do any of the animation. So presumably, if the studio is hit by COVID once, it then has like a domino effect on the schedule.
Well, this is the kind of thing that it might fucking like actually cause some like close, like actually from examining the problems here, because it's never about the studio and never about the content of that. You see some big sponsors here. Sega have let out a lot of their fucking copyright fucking things to use this thing, and they're not going to appreciate getting burned this many times. So maybe that might prompt some kind of change.
I'm sure Netflix aren't happy about the hold-ups either of various episodes not appearing.
Well, I think it was this. I think that the same episode director who quit, he was like saying before, like, you don't get adding that money off of Netflix. It's just a straight into making like more fucking shit cartoons and to just like fill up their service with. They're not actually concerned that much about the quality on the most part.
Yeah.
Or at least the quality of life of the people who make them anyway.
Yeah, more importantly.
So, Uncle for Another World episode 5 though. Reminds me, he almost got assassinated once. He did. He almost got assassinated by. Is it Mabel? Is that the name of the girl from
Ice Lady?
The Ice Sword?
The inheritor of the Ice Clan or something like that. He's reminded because basically he's like, one's like, well, now that YouTube has changed its algorithm or its terms of service, you need to find a new job. You could become really good at baseball. He's like, no, I'd never do that. I used to watch them bully me and shit like that, but I respected their work ethic because I once beat Alien Commando in like under 30 minutes or something like that.
Yes, they noticed the same thing I noticed. This mysterious hooded figure had been appearing in all the scenes in the previous episodes.
The very obvious character design that was there. And they can rewind through his memories to check. So, yeah.
Yes, turns out it's Mabel, and she was there to kill the uncle because he had ruined her life by not using the sword to defeat the dragon and seal it up. So therefore, her life had no purpose. She didn't have to pass this sword on to an heir. And also,
when she got back to her tree that she was just being a shut-in with, the mayor was deconstructing the tree for lumber, and he's just like, "You need to go get a fucking job." And he's like, "Oh, that's terrible." And he's like, "Then I froze their feet in ice and dripped icy water down the back of all 100 villagers."
It wasn't just you had to go get a job. You had to go and get a job, otherwise we're going to turn you into our pet.
Oh yeah, that was pretty weird. But it was. I feel like her response definitely did not ingratiate herself to the entire village.
They were a weird village.
They were a weird village. I'm not going to say they weren't, but you should probably try and win them over rather than make them angrier at you. Yeah.
But the turning into the pet is the important bit, because then that leads into the bit later on when we discover that her lineage goes back to Earth. Because she's like 4 generations from
a samurai got isekai into this world.
Yes.
And that sword school and all those kind of that derived from him.
So they're going through the memory, and he's kind of like he starts to look like the creep because they're like, dude, you're proposing to her again by giving her a ring. He's like, that'll take care of you for the rest of your life. Slips the ring on her finger, and she's like, it's too soon. I'm sorry, I can't. And he's like, no, take it. And he's like, but I refused your offer of marriage. Now, she does a great confused voice actually in this whole episode.
I meant to look up who was doing the voice, because the voice is great.
She's wonderful. Yeah, I have really good acting. Just very like, wait a minute, but I refused your proposal. That means that, but you can't just put it back on my. How the fuck does this work? And then obviously the elf is like, I think I'm going to see if I can get into bed with him in the end. Let me just walk in on him as they're wrestling on the ground. Sorry, no, go on.
When Mabel is voiced by the mirror sheep of anime voice actors Aoi Yuki.
Okay.
She's tied up on the ground because she was going to attack him because he was sniffing her and telling her to like sell the ring so she can go and afford a bath.
Yeah. She was like, sell the ring, you go to afford a bath, because she said, oh, I want to have a wash, and he's like, oh, you don't smell bad. And she's like, fucking personal space. Whoa, hang on a sec. But as the nephew and the potential friend / girlfriend are kind of watching, it's like you're getting there with her, but you're really fucking it up on several occasions, like where they can see in the background of the scene, or her sword is melting, therefore her icy heart is melting.
Yes, and then the elf steps in and they're in a compromising position. So she releases Mabel, she freezes the uncle, and then they have a conversation. And this is where you get the proper isekai story that the nephew was hoping to hear.
And they weren't even watching it. The girl was watching it, like the uncle's memories on repeat as they're in the next room making coffee.
Yeah.
Just like, holy shit, she just said Japan. Fucking yes. What the fuck?
Yeah, so she's relaying to the elf her backstory and like the connect, because she's asking about the connection between.
And she's telling it in this cool way. She's using the ice to explain to visually narrate the story and that kind of thing. And the outside guy, yeah, I know. The guy got isekai'd over, and then you have to protect the sword that he asked. God said, "Hey, I want one thing. I'll give you one thing because I'm a god of this world." And he said, "Give me a sword that could kill you." And God's like, "Fucking cool answer." And she's like, "But you ruined me telling the story. That was like the only thing I'm good at is telling my family's fucking story." What the fuck?
Yeah, because when they're asking what she'd like to do as a job, and she's running through earlier of like all these really soft jobs, and then she's like, "I could never do hard work like that."
No way.
What was it, like petting cute puppies and tasting candy at the candy store?
Yes,
it's like that's a lot of fucking effort. Like,
it was working in a sweet florist shop. Being the taster at a baker shop.
That was a taster at a bakery.
And working at a toy shop where they sold big fluffy teddy bears. Yeah.
And, she's had to get by in her looks. She's as pretty as Heather from Dynamite Eddie.
And then the last section is them wondering what power the uncle got from God when he was isekai'd. And
because the uncle's like really regretting. It's like, oh, I could have got the god slaying fucking ice sword. I turned on that reward. What reward did I fucking get for being isekai'd? And as he was, I like the old fashioned graphics of the really bad animated guys he first comes across and start beating the shit out of him in very like 1-2 frames of animation, like it's an older video game, I guess.
And we do see him younger from presumably when he got hit by the truck.
Yeah.
So just suggests that the stuff we're seeing is quite recent from his timeline, particularly when we see the slider as when they're trying to find when this happened.
Yeah.
And essentially he's being beaten up for being an orc. And they're like, there's something in the background. Can you turn the volume up on your flashback? And it is essentially a pre-recorded message from God, but not in Japanese.
It got the language thing wrong. God has ceased caring about isekai people, doesn't meet them personally anymore. It just has like a pre-recording. It's like, hey, welcome to your new world in another world. What one thing would you like to wish, and I will make it true. In a different language.
Magic power, please press 1. If you would like a hot bod, press 2.
So the uncle, as he's been beaten up by 3 random, beautiful gang guys, is kind of like, oh, I wish they could understand me. And all of a sudden he can speak the language. And as God points out, it's like, you could have received this if you went to basic training mountain, level 1. But, here you go. You can speak the language now. And the nephew's like, so once they could understand you, they stop beating you up because, like, oh, you're a person like me. I understand now. I was like, no, they thought I was an orc that could talk, so they sold me to a freak show.
We just throw past somebody too. Oh, go on back to the start of it and saying, no, that's when I got burned at the stake. No, that's when I got enslaved again. No.
That's when they buried me up to my neck because I'm such a heavy sleeper.
Yeah.
Dear.
Just the whole language thing is started out as well, but just them going with like, oh yeah, fucking altered beast, what you can say here? Rise from your grave. And whoa, I didn't notice that before.
Because he was like, I thought he was saying something like "fight, brave warrior." It's like, wait a minute, the main character was I was playing a corpse in that game. What the fuck? It changes the context of altered beast, which just blows his mind. Not as badly as how badly he didn't beat Alien Soldier impressively. The speed runs on that are insane. Yeah,
it's pretty good for
for a kid.
Casual like practicing it hours on end using like save states and nothing. Just went for it.
Anyway, if you're looking for reaction images, this is a very good episode for that. from the nephew and his would-be girlfriend.
Hmm.
Also, whoever's drawing this one draws their teeth incredibly detailed in a lot of their reaction faces.
There's something about incredibly detailed teeth that makes a very good reaction face. Yeah.
It's predicting when a nephew is getting excited about the possibilities of magic power for YouTube videos. It just kind of gets really like, it's like,
the idea of him beating up the people who bullied him in school is so fucking appealing to him. He turns into a creep for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, because she asks, what happened to you in high school? And then the subtitle appears explaining that his family is split up during high school.
It was a bad time for him.
Arguing over the uncle who was in a coma.
Who should take care of the comatose uncle? Yeah.
Then, after that, it is Chimimo, episode 9, Hellbent on a stack of money, and YIKES, the senpai from hell arrives. So in the first half, there is a local lottery where they got 10 tickets. They get the Chimimos to turn them in and one of the Chimimos to do the turns. On the very first turn, they win the maximum prize, which is 100,000 yen. And then the debate comes of how we're going to split this.
Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
I mean, like, it's
pals, right?
It was 10 tickets, and is it 10,000 yen or 100,000?
It's 100,000 yen, so about like $1,000 in some.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I think the ideas of A, splitting it evenly, and B, splitting it based on how many tickets you put in. I was like, both of those are entirely fucking fair, one or the other. But they really can't decide. Basically, like, a lot of people is like, I want all that money to buy a new microwave. And it's like, I want all that money to probably spend on drink. I'm going to be honest with you. It's the little kid who's kind of like, we should probably divvy it up between us. I mean, everyone chipped in, so everyone gets a piece.
So they decide they're going to let the Chimimos decide.
By vote.
By vote.
Entirely democratic.
And so then it becomes an episode where they're all trying to convince the Chimimos to vote for them.
Sometimes by saying, he's like, look at all the food I could make in that microwave if you buy it. And sometimes by going, I will beat the shit out of you if you don't fucking get me that microwave.
Think of all the food we could heat up in that microwave. Come on!
Yeah, so various kinds of bribery and various kinds of, like, playing it as like, wait, there's no rule that says we can't, like, put in our lot together to be the, like, superior party, basically.
Coalition government here, we're going to, go get the campaign van out, distribute these funds fairly. We will, we promised, like, new exercise areas. We're going to build, like, a cat tower in there. We're going to be, like, snacks every day.
It is funny the way they managed to get they got all the political gear, and I did appreciate when they're arguing with when Mr. Hell, the coalition of Mr. Hell and the youngest are arguing with the other sisters. They're still using the megaphone to like argue with them, as a politician might, I suppose. Yeah.
Yes.
As the kid goes, like, oh man, I'm in so much debt. I just gotta get some money by the end of the day. Just in the penalty interest, it'll be enough. It's like, oh my god, don't fall for it. Check it out. She's got fucking fake tears right here. This is all the shit you cannot pull all the time as a kid. So it's fucking always just quoting grips and scams with you. What's their deal? What makes up this one thing? Well, I guess that's it, right? Everybody hates me, huh? Well, I just probably the fuck after it, right? It's like, I don't fall for the guy. It was quite gutsy to go for the double, a double sob story on there.
Well, the first time she was trying to trick the Chimimo, but the second time she was trying to trick Mr. Hell.
Yes, because Mr. Hell had been mean to her, so she was. Yeah, it was more believable the second time. But it was nice that May is like, no, I know my sister. She's pulling a fast one again. Her first play was that she'd lost all her money in the cryptocurrency crash.
Oh, yes, that was it. Yeah. And she needs it by the end of the day, or they'll break her legs, is what she's implying, basically.
But because Mr. Hell had promised that she could join their party, then she's like, okay, I'm in. Like, even though she was caught, she's still claiming she's part of their deal. And then the Chimimos disappear when Masumi gets. Why does she get mad?
You all can go again for me, are you? Well, I'm getting that microwave.
Yes. So the Chimimos, they chase after the Chimimos, can't find the Chimimos anywhere. Where are they going? They run around town looking for the Chimimos, get back home. The Chimimos are all back home, but they can't find the money now. And then
it's nearly like a situation where it's like, oh no, all our arguing has made them run away from home.
They've got the money.
They do love doing that, actually.
Yeah, but it's just like, oh, you're pulling at your heartstrings. The Chimimo are sad now that we've run away. When you find them home, it's like, I've forgotten all about that money.
Yes.
I'm glad you guys are home, safe and sound.
Yeah.
What? A delivery?
Yes, that's it. The delivery's there, and yes,
on
there's
delivery.
100,000 yen, please. And the Chimimos have ordered box after box of those bird biscuits they were promised by May at the start of the episode.
They decided since we didn't want you to fight over the money, we'd just spend it all on biscuits.
Yeah.
It was their luck that got them because they turned the wheel.
So
the money is theirs by some criteria.
Also, you were eventually going to have to feed them that amount of biscuits anyway, so it probably works out fine.
You put them up in the storage space, All right, last Christmas.
And the second part is the senpai from hell arrives, and the problem is your worst nightmare is a boss who's 20 years younger than you.
She's up on all the Earth trends. She's on Instatalk or whatever the fuck they call it in this show.
Instagram, well, this is it, man. She's just like started out as a social media intern, but as a real go-getter, and was put hell on all the latest tortures you can inflict. The latest, hottest, sweetest, coolest tortures you can inflict. Yeah.
So she's kind of disturbed that all his Chimimo aren't there. One's missing. She's like, I'm going to find the other one. In the meantime, Death Chimimo is going to give you a crash course in small hells, and we'll work our way up to bigger hells, that kind of thing.
Ooh, the hell of stubbing your toe on the edge of the sideboard. Oh, the hell of running around trying to get oh.
Yeah, I do the stubbing the toe one all the time. Being late for work, just very small ones, but they do suck when they happen. That kind of one. But as she's going around town and chasing up the Chimimo, she ends up at the restaurant where the middle sister's working because she's dropped off. The younger sister has had some spaghetti for lunch and is dropping off food to the older sister. But when you go to the restaurant, it's like, whoa, they're selling eyeball fucking stew. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
And the bigger sister is eating the eyeball stew, which she suggested to the restaurant. That's her favorite part to eat of the fish. So, so it's like, maybe these guys are all right. And then, lo and behold, she meets the Ponstagrammer Emerald. It's like, whoa, you're Emerald. The Ponstagrammer goes around friggin' all around the world with her Chimimo minions,
and she humiliates them by
making them do humiliating things. Yeah, as opposed to cute things. But yes.
Yeah.
So she's very impressed with Emerald. Yeah.
Yeah, and so returns home and then discovers, these women I keep on running into, they're Mr. Hell's female servants that he's mentioned. So now you should go and use the things you've learned and send put these 3 women through hell. And he's like, I guess I'm gonna have to do this. Turns into his monster form, and then the senpai has got to go and get her nails done, I think.
Yeah.
And so leaves with Death, and he doesn't have to send the sisters to hell after all.
Well, he has a newfound resolve where he's it's like, I'm not going to do things by halves. I'm going to really make it hell on earth. And then they're like, dinner time. He's like, oh boy, I can't wait for dinner. Immediately forgets.
Yeah, and also because I get the general feeling he was more worried about what the sisters would do to him.
Yes. Oh no, he knew he was going to be in trouble no matter what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
Basically, he got lucky.
It's the most adorable thing about being in league with Satan I've ever watched, I must say.
Yeah. Dear. It's still good. I think this one did a good job of kind of separating the 2 episodes, because like you were saying, Brian, the other problem of I kind of forgot the first half because the second half was really fucking good. I enjoyed both in this one.
Yeah, I think I like the first half more because I think it's got I think the fun visuals of May and Mr. Hell in their political outfits, standing on their soapbox.
But I mean, we've seen him get the surprise inspection before.
Yeah.
Now it's gone up. We brought it up to management now, so you've really got to straighten up.
Yeah, the design of the senpai is good because we saw her in silhouette last week, and she looked like some sort of insect, but that's just the way her twin tails sit.
The kind is the wing hair, Devilman style.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next up is Shine On Bakumatsu Bad Boys, episode 9. Ponder, a person's thoughts and a demon's thoughts.
I like this one because there's just like this like downtime between that big event, and it's building up to that last big one. And just through that, we've actually learned a lot about each other.
Yes, and also that character I thought had escaped his death had not escaped his death because someone else killed him as opposed to the person who historically killed him. But killed him on the right day, I think.
So it all lines up fine. Okay.
It all lines up fine. They haven't changed history too much.
Timeline is back.
I mean, he does get to say, like, initially, he's like, hey, the thing you're doing is fucking stupid. Let me point out the ways because I'm smart. And he's like, fucking kill this man.
Yeah, I mean, we do get early on, the brother is pondering his big brother's words that maybe he could atone for his sins by joining the Shinsengumi. But by midway through the episode, it's gone the opposite way again.
Yeah, I didn't have time, but while I looked back and even just like once recently appeared, guys, while he's like talking to while Ichiban Boshi talking to Saki and everyone breaking bread after like a job after like a hard day's work. It's just like telling a story of when like his bird the same for him. It's just like, oh, I'm not hungry at all, but here have my little bit. Is it okay? It's like, he always raises his eyebrow when
I have noticed he has like a weird sort of twitchy eyebrow thing, but yeah, I'm curious because like in this episode he says that's his brother's tell when he's not necessarily lying, but in that case he was trying to put on a brave face, so he actually did want to eat the whole bun, but
So I was going back and looked at him and said, "Oh yeah, I totally killed my mother, kill our mother, and like I'm a totally evil dude now."
Yeah. So go back and check which part he's if not lying directly to, lying to himself about. Yeah.
I also wonder if they're working for aliens because his boss does say something about messages from the stars.
If it's not just yokai or whatever,
Well, they're using the kind of like because they're using that like pentagram symbol. Let's say I said all the Onmyoji stuff, and they're like the imperial astrologers, so it could be on that account as well.
Oh, so it could turn out to be the guy with the massive haircut.
He did. We're going to use like ancient magic to keep the foreigners out of Japan. Which the man like shows and says, "That's fucking stupid. That is dumb ass shit." Yeah, I know. I'm smart. I read a load of books. See all these books I got. I've read them all. I'm smarter than you.
He kind of breaks down your man's like, oh, tell me about your glorious leader's philosophy, because how do I know fucking I don't like it? And he's like, oh, this is our glorious leader's philosophy. That's fucking stupid. Let me point out this point by point system of why it sucks before you murder me. Just so you feel real bad about murdering me. It works. He feels pretty fucking annoyed about the whole situation. It's like, God damn it. I mean, like, I'm going to put on the new mask. That means I've gotten the promotion. But other than that, I still feel fucking annoyed about that whole situation.
So a big part of the first half is them rebuilding the city and Akira being proposed to by Kogoro.
Yeah. Like that entire thing is like that's a weird romantic side plot to the whole fucking thing, but it has been consistent with it. I'll give it that. But it is funny to me. All the people are like, "Oh, thank goodness, the Ichiban Boshi are here to help out." It's like, they didn't stop the city burning down, right? It's like, yeah, but they're helping out now. It's like it's good PR,
It's fucking if this shit happens, like the Parker was part accidentally. It was in my arson this time, but it isn't like they're going to say, well, we didn't catch him. That's all our job was. No. It's like
they were there to try and put out the fires and to try and help with repairs and getting stuff back together. Because even the criminal guy's like, oh, I can only break shit. It's you carpenters who can build stuff back up. And saying to the little kids like, hey, if you see any valuables among the rubble, he's like, that's right, give it back to the owners. And he's like, yes, that's what I was going to say. Damn, I guess he's the new gang leader. I guess the new gangs are going to be a lot nicer than when I ran them as a small child.
Well, the Yakuza, whenever there's like a natural disaster, they pitch in.
They do chip in. Yeah, that's true.
And so, doctors brought the injured guy back to health again. And the three of them, they're going to discuss, they're looking into those symbols that they've been picking up on these pieces of paper. And they're not going to tell Ichiban Boshi because they say he'll just say it needs blitzing. And this doesn't. This is at this point we do not need it blitzing.
We don't know where or who we need to blitz, so let's gather enough evidence. Then we can blitz them. Yeah.
So the priest is going to investigate this, and meanwhile, Ichiban Boshi and I can't remember his real name, the Hijikata replacement.
Sakuya.
Yeah. They're called in to report that their buddy from earlier on in the series has been murdered.
Shuzan, yeah.
Yes. But they need to go to Osaka to prevent some foreign ships being blown up by the masked devils.
Because when he was dying, he left you a note just scrunched up like the print and written his blood Oni on it. So like, demons at the port, so they're gonna blow up some boats.
He's done his Detective Conan thing, not to tell who murdered him. It's very obvious who murdered him, but to say where their next target is. So
yeah,
good on you, smart guy, for doing another smart thing just before you died.
It's a good, as you said, Niall. It's a good change of pace. Dialing the action down a bit, and then getting ready to dial it up again next week.
It's just as it fun. Sakuya's lightened up, Todo's lightened up a bit, because he's like, I'm pretty hard on you dudes, but you do care about me because if one fell asleep, they treat me fun. Well, that's what a doctor must do, is like make sure your patient's taken care of.
Yeah, and even the captain and the second in command have kind of like, he's like, yeah, I did kill my dad, but let me give you the context for that. And he's like, oh yeah, no, that's fine. Like I'm not going to blame you for that. That totally makes sense.
Yep, 1,000 men killed. Woohoo! Right, but now let's think about fine, if you can save 1,000 people, that'd be even better, right? So maybe try counting those. Not wrong. Give you that.
They're all kind of coming around to their positions as police and the good they can do, because they were kind of doing stuff for themselves or survival or what they thought they believed in, and now it's kind of like, actually, it feels good to help people. That's weird. I enjoy this. Yeah.
It's what they're actually doing what all those police recruitment posters say. It's why what happens actually in real life, but they don't do any of that. They just use it to recruit people.
Yeah. But criminals would make better police, as we learned from this show.
Yeah, maybe that's a fucking context for why this shitty world, as the use of parents in this program, is just so shitty.
And it's done that as well by it's revealed a bunch of their crimes, and all of their crimes are basically or at least the initial ones are kind of like, yeah, they were in the right though. It's the shitty world that decided those things were crimes. So they're the kind of criminals who did the crimes for good reasons. So they'll do things for good reasons. That's why they're better than regular cops. Yeah.
That's what when Shuzan was saying upon you can kill me, but this world is going to come because it has to come. There's too many people who are just who are fucked off by it that it isn't going to stop. So samurais and fucking those guys, they're going to go the way of the dodo because there's nothing for nobody. When Sakuya killed his father because she was beating the shit out of his mother, and they really don't hold back there. It's so
no, that's pretty harsh,
like that. And because she was now dishonored, she had to kill herself. It was well, see, this one was always better for fucking nothing. Because it's just all fun grinding people down based on fucking what they do. Now, what's now about fun, just dying for your master or following their orders. They won't make anything new. People with their own ideas and fighting for them and pushing them forward.
Then we've got Dragon Quest, The Adventure of Dai, episode 93, The Eye Jewel.
Hey, bet you're wondering what that eyeball on the top of his head does, huh? Bet you're wondering what that does the whole fucking time. It's what's the deal with that third eye, huh?
Well, you'll find out.
That's where I keep my marble collection.
After Leona gets her badass moment.
It's pretty. I mean, it feels pretty junky, especially when they have the other guys also go we've showed up, and then they're immediately defanged and everything. But Leona does get to go hey, I can still fucking stab you, you motherfucker, and then I'll be the strongest woman in the world, the woman who stabbed the fucking leader of the world.
It's just the way he was going on, friends. I'll keep be my little songbird, and sing about how cool I am and how much I was a punk, and then everyone said, but I'm also going to sing about fucking I cut you fuck good. No, I know there was that knife that was waiting to come out for so long, and it did.
Yeah. It is a good moment.
I'll cut you. You want to go, motherfucker? I got this fucking knife right here. It's
so when she's cheaped out by him using that third eye, it kind of feels like he's being I'm just going to use my cheap extra power that I've kept in my pocket all this fucking time.
Yeah.
Now you have to watch me kill him.
Yeah.
But he can only use it on people who are too weak to beat him. Which suggests that
The people left standing can beat him.
Yes,
combined character popularity polls.
Yeah, combined with the fact that Leona has basically shown Dai how to beat him. Also,
I feel like I don't hear the actual. I don't get the actual translation, but several times it's like if they're under this level, basically he can zap them with this and turn them into a duel.
It is literally level. They say level in the.
Okay,
I
thought that's what they were saying.
Not translated,
all right, yeah.
but yes, they do say level. Also, Leona gets zapped in pretty much exactly the place she was keeping Gome-chan, so I assume that's going to come back and bite Vern at some point.
Yeah. Because Gome-chan is very powerful, as we've learned.
Yeah.
Don't know how to get out of this bit of the story. Bring out Gome-chan. Works every time.
The golden slime will save us all. So you're stuck in this duel, and you can't
do anything.
You can see and hear.
Yeah.
But you can't react in any fucking way or say anything. Yeah. So you have to watch Dai get killed. Ha 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 ha! I'm so evil.
And then the gang show up.
Yeah. Then the gang show up and say, "We're all here," and he's like, "No, you're not." Zap. Basically, to anyone who's under levels, which unfortunately includes Mom, and it's just like, come on, let her get a few fucking licks in.
Yeah, that is kind of crap about this. It's like, you can see what came like Hyunko, he's bollocks like. But
Hyunko's out of it for sure.
He probably did pretty good in the character polls, honestly.
Yeah, but I'm glad it's the last people standing. Him is among the numbers. So I was like, hey, all right, okay.
Crocodile too, for instance, came on his wave and fucking sideline on the bench again.
He's been sidelined for like fucking ages at this stage. So,
I would have really preferred because he was fun throwing out fucking digs there at Mr. Vern when he was around. Have it be this one desperate thing, where let him have a shot at Vern, get a pop off of them, and then you could kind of disable them. I guess what it's going to go for here, as we see with when Avan has a goal, but he can't recover when he gets knocked back, the rest of them can. So that means he's out. You get to have the death moment without actually killing them.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's the idea that he literally says at Vern out loud that he's if you defeat me, that will release them from their gems, but you got to defeat me first. So it's just like, so they're essentially dead unless you beat me. That kind of way. It's kind of like a Schrodinger's cat kind of situation. They're trapped in these gems up until you beat me, kind of thing.
And if you don't beat me, you're going to end up in those gems as well.
Yeah, you will get the fate worse than death kind of thing as well.
Play marbles with them for the next 200 years or
what. Until he can separate himself again with the.
Yeah, it makes it clear that it's Hyunko, Mom, and Brakina is because they're too injured, and Crocodile and Chew are the ones who aren't high enough level to fight him.
They're just not high enough level anymore. So it's initially just Dai, Pop, him,
Larhart,
and the. Avan, but as him, Larhart, and Avan try to triple threat him, he's just like, oh no, but he's got the 3 attacks. Don't fucking do it. And Pop's like, no. Pop's like, no, fucking let them at this. We need to watch and learn the weakness kind of thing. And it's
hold you back
Avan
and heal you so you don't get into this fight.
Yeah. So it's Avan who gets the worst fucking brunt of it because I think he takes the Kaiser Phoenix basically to the face.
He does, but before he goes, he sees Matreyev in Pop's behavior. He's like, you've learned from my old friend. You've grown so much. I didn't have to worry about me not being here to train you because you've been trained and become an adult in your own way.
Vern kind of going it's like, I'm glad you actually took the brunt of that because now I'm going to turn you into a jewel because the dangerous thing about you is your really smart brain, and having going there is another before he gets turned into a fucking jewel. Yes. It's Pop. It's obviously Pop.
It is Pop because Pop has obviously figured it out by the end of the episode.
Yeah,
that's exactly what they need to do.
Unfortunately, him's got one of his fucking arms shattered again. Fucking Orichalcum is fucking the market value for it has gone way fucking down.
He's got fucking judo chop those things. Chop. Don't need power up now. I just go slap you across the face. Even that hurts it really bad.
So I assume based on what we know from what Leona said and what we observed from this episode is that while this stance is great, it can only deal with 3 attacks at a time, and they've got 4 people.
Yeah.
And also, we know from what Leona said is while he's doing those 3 attacks, he's not protecting his own body. So
Yeah, there's definitely like gaps in it, and also he's very much so. Come on, everyone, come at me, and then
Yeah,
he
it's
goes
just
for some
like
bravado afterwards as well. I was like, what about consistent attacks? How does he do on those?
yeah, fun.
Yeah.
Because I always do it when he's just doing that from the counter stance. Just don't go into some go for it, or like how do you fun do with that? Usually in video games, you know, it's
You
well you
stagger
don't
your
go for a
attacks and
punch,
stuff. Yeah.
or you go for the throw, the grapple.
Mm, mm,
It's like, well, just don't walk into it and you'll be fine.
mm.
And then you have to do something else, and then maybe we can probably get him then that way. Or just everyone pile in and hold him down while we stab him. I don't know.
Yeah.
That would work
Pop is
too.
going to ready a desperate plan next week, apparently.
Yeah, because he knows his Meteora doesn't work, but he does have a plan apparently. So
Well, this is a plan for him because all his plans are desperate plans.
that's true. Yeah.
On this bond is what it's called. So I assume they're going to swear a bond and take down Vern as best they can.
Hmm.
Righty ho. That is the whole goddamn thing for this week.
Oh yeah.
Is anything starting next week that I need to be aware of? That will be the week ending the 10th. I don't think so. No, we're good. We're good for another week.
Oh bastard! Yeah, but even then, I'll probably just park that for a little while. But I haven't finished the first batch yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's 2 weeks' time. We've got Edge Runners coming up, which, if it's anything as bonkers as the trailer, should be a lot of fun. But the trailer could also just be the most bonkers scenes across multiple episodes put into one 30-second clip.
Well, in that case, we might check out the first one and go like, "You lied to us." Yeah.
I suspect it might be.
Yeah,
worth watching.
I heard the first one is slower than you would expect, considering who's directing it.
Okay.
It will pick right back up. And I'm willing to watch anything that Imaishi does, really.
Yeah. And they just announced a DLC for the original, the 2077 game as well.
How conveniently timed!
Oh,
Anime
yes.
skins.
Man, if they could just like skin the whole fucking thing over to make it look like Trigger or something, yeah, that would be a good fucking DLC.
It would be, yes. It would be an improvement of having to see Keanu Reeves' face yet again, and yet another playthrough of it. Yeah, I don't know how he's back. I don't know how he's back in the DLC, considering.
Well, I mean, like he's a video game in the game anyway, so he could just be DLC for that game. So yeah,
that's true. Work. Oh yes, you thought you got rid of him, but somehow he's back again. You don't have to get rid of him. There's like multiple endings, but
add extra life.
I assume it's
press
not,
continue.
Yeah, or it'll be stuff. It'll be content which is before the end of the game. That's the other option. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Which means I'll have to start a fourth playthrough of it.
Just like an anime tie-in film that happened between arcs.
Yeah, exactly. That's how to get you.
It's not too long a game to do a playthrough of it. So that's it for this week, though. We'll be back next week with exactly the same amount of things again. Ta-ta for now.